Welcome back to J&J Tabletop. I'm Josh. This is Jake. Today we're going to talk about Counterspell. We don't have a copy of the New Player's Handbook yet, but Dungeon Dudes has always been a trusted source for us. They're a go-to, and they do. So we got these facts from their video. Jake, tell us what the facts are. How does it work now?
Counterspell looks a lot like it did in one of the latest Unearthed Arcana. Basically, it forces a Constitution saving throw on the original caster to resist being countered. Upcasting the spell no longer has any effect on it, and if the counterspell succeeds, the original caster that is being countered does not expend the spell slot. Another change that I think is worth noting is that you are only allowed to use one spell slot per turn. So it's notable to say that if I try to cast Fireball and you try to counter me with it, I can't try to counter your counter. So it gets a little less complicated and it's a little simpler there, which I actually kind of like that change. But Josh, I really, why is it a Constitution saving throw? This one kind of has me baffled.
Yeah, I'm kind of right there with you. One thing I want to mention before I even really give my opinion on that is I feel like a lot of people are going to bring up, hey, a lot of monsters have proficiency in con saving throws. But at least in the 2014 rules, most casters don't have that proficiency. So I don't know if that's going to matter as much as some people think it will. That being said, since Counterspell and the ability to power through it is essentially you like powering through with your casting, it seems really, really weird that you're using con instead of your ability to cast spells. It also, I don't have to tell you this, but it also greatly favors sorcerers who get proficiency in Constitution saving throws. Other thing, this is kind of interesting, legendary creatures, they can burn a legendary resistance to overcome it. I kind of think that's a good thing. It kind of makes sense for boss monsters to be able to do that. And it's another way for them to burn through their resistances, and that's good for the players, right?
Yeah, I mean, it might be a little bit on like trying to count on your monk stunning striking someone, but at the same time, it's possible. And if it happens, they happen to roll in that one, burning through those legendary resistances is going to be a nice thing. But I also find it interesting that it no longer wastes the spell slot. And if you watch our Action Economy series, especially the one on reactions, Counterspell is one of the most lopsided exchanges, especially if the cost is just your reaction. You get to kill an entire action. That exchange is still in place, and I don't want to pretend that that's not significant, but not forcing them to lose the spell slot at all it's just weird. If say I'm using this on an enemy and they were going to cast slow on our entire party, if I successfully counter that, that's still a massive win for me. I don't want to belittle how big of an effect it is, or if I prevent one of multiple fireballs coming at us, that's still going to be helpful. You know, like it's not as if that doesn't happen. It's just you're probably going to face the same thing next turn, at least if combat looks somewhat the same. I don't know. Is this still good? Like, is this still something that is like a really go-to spell?
I really don't know how to answer that. Like that's my honest opinion. I'm not sure. I think time will tell. Maybe that's a cop out, but this isn't a cop out. My personal opinion is I like this less than how much I liked the original version. I don't know. That's all subjective, but what do you think?
Yeah, I need to see it play out first too before I judge it. My initial reaction is that there is a certain ick factor that kind of always existed with Counterspell, where it's sort of in that like banishment lane where it's like, oh, the cool things you want to do you can't now. So there's always something there for that for me, and that's always going to be in place a little bit. Kind of almost expect it to work more because, like you said, caster monsters in the monster manual, at least the 2014 monster manual, often don't have proficiency in con saves. Like in Milo and our Eve of Ruin, I have a DC 19 saving throw I force on people. He's going to counter things often. So I don't know. I think cheesy dungeon masters are probably going to start fudging proficiencies and saving throws, you know, but I want to know what you think. Is this still good? Do you think this is a positive change, a negative change? We're not so sure really yet either way, but let us know in the comment section. And Josh, I think I'm going to counterspell you now. So you've been
No,
countered.
I don't know what to say to that.
I don't know either.